Alright, so basically I'm doing this for myself because, I don't understand this little development of the pharynx and mouth and face and all that stuff. So I'm going to go really super basic because basically this is for me. So if it feels like I'm dumbing it down for you, then I'm sorry, but this is the way I gotta learn it. So anyway, here goes. I'm using Symbrio right now. So anyway, it's gonna be animation for a while, but basically, we're gonna be looking over here. This is gonna come out. It's actually in the pharynx, the neck area. And I'm not gonna read these to you because if you're watching this, you're most likely to read. But basically, what you want to see here, like what I had trouble seeing, was right here, this pharyngeal pouch thingy. What it is actually like it's from the endoderm, and they call it evaginations, like because it's going out. So it's going out, and at the same time, the pharyngeal cleft is actually ectoderm. Like the way I saw it is this little blue color. I'm guessing they're using to denote ectoderm. So, man, I'm doing movements with my fingers here. I can see it, but basically, if you want to think about it, you have this ectoderm, the pharyngeal cleft. It becomes a pharyngeal cleft by going in. Meanwhile, the pharyngeal pouch goes out. So it's endoderm going out towards the ectoderm that's going in. I don't know if you got that, but you could always rewind this. But basically, you're having like a little sandwich thing here, like little funny thing going on where these two are coming closer. Anyway, so what you want to realize with this is they're gonna name these, basically from the top down. So you have the first one, the first pharyngeal arch, the second, the third, and they named this the fourth and the sixth because what happens is in humans, the fifth one obviously is supposed to be between the fourth and the sixth, but what happens is the fifth one actually disappears. So you have the fourth and the sixth joining. I don't know why it happens, but now is not the time for why. I'm trying to focus on how first of all. Then I'll do the why. But basically what happens is you have the fifth going out, so now you have 4 and 6 combining to form like pretty much 4 and 6 together. They say that the fifth pharyngeal arch is either rudimentary or never formed, so it disappears or whatever. But so only the first of the 5 are like pouches, arches, clefts. That's what they're going to label. That's what they're going to focus on. So they say the first 5 because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But basically it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Because remember 4 and 6 match because 5 is kicked out. So basically, if you want to see it, I'll draw it real quick. Right? Not that drawing. That's something else. That's for a little bit later. But basically, right? Let's say you just have your pharyngeal arches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Label them for simplicity. 6. Okay. So basically, what you're looking at right here, these stay. 1, 2, 3, 4 stay. What happens is 5 goes away. So you have 5 pretty much disappearing, going somewhere into oblivion. And you have this now. So now you got 4 and 6. 5 is out of the picture. I don't know what happens to it. So basically you have 5 arches. Yes. Technically you have 5 arches, 4, 5. But that's not to be confused. You have 5 arches that stay, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. These two sometimes are treated as 1, so just be careful with that. But you pretty much have arches 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 remaining. 5 is gone. Okay? So that's something that got me before, but it's you'll get it because there's more stuff that happens later on with this whole embryological development stuff. So okay, so let's go on. In this drawing right now you see, let's see, anything of particular importance here. They have something with the brain and stuff like that, but I don't want to go into the brain right now because I don't think they did anything with the brain. Um, but I do want to go with this over here because this is high yield. They told me with what's forming what here. So pretty much, yeah. I told you I'm not going to read this because you can read, but and that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to kind of show you what they told us. But all right. So nasal placode, I've gotten that's like maybe a spot that something big is going to happen later, or it becomes a hole or something like that. I don't really know the actual meaning of the word placode or however you want to say it. But basically what you have here, what they taught us in class is that you have the lateral nasal prominence, medial nasal prominence, right? These two will become important later on because of this. Fusing or non-fusing of these will actually cause cleft lip or cleft palate. That's later on, but I'll get to that. For now, I'm just going to say something. It's about the arches and which nerves innervate what, cranial nerves innervate what. Now, I mean, if you learn this now, later on, all you have to do is learn what muscle comes from what aortic arch, pharyngeal arch, or yeah, pharyngeal arch, and when you learn the muscle that comes from there, you'll know the nerve that innervates it because it's in the beginning. So I'm going to say it, then I'm going to draw it for you. It's the first arch is supplied by the fifth cranial nerve. The second has the seventh. The third has the ninth. And then the fourth and sixth together has the 10th. Remember, there's no 5. There's no fifth arch because it disappears. So I'm going to draw it out for you because that's the way I roll and that's the way I learn. So basically what you have here, you're going to have which arch, I don't know why it's in red, but whatever, I don't care. It's my favorite color anyway. Arch and which cranial nerve. Okay? So you have arch number 1, 2, 3, and then the 4, 6 combo. Remember, because 5 is out. So, now, the first one is by cranial nerve number 5. Now, I know they each have their own name, but I don't know most of them, and I don't want to give you the wrong name. The only one I know is 10 is vagus, but other than that, I don't know. Not yet. I'm learning this myself too. The second arch is by the 7th. The third is actually by the 9th. And I believe this is glossopharyngeal. Glossopharyngeal. This is not my day for writing, but it's okay. This together, I guess. Okay, and then 10, and this is a question mark because I'm not sure about this, so don't quote me on that. This one I'm pretty darn sure, the vagus nerve. Okay, so pretty much you're going to have arch number 1, it's by 5, cranial nerve number 5. Arch number 2 is by cranial nerve 7. Arch number 3 is 9, glossopharyngeal. The 4 and 6 combo, because remember 5 is out, I'm going to keep saying that until it burn it into your head. 5 is out. So 4 and 6 combo is by 10. So vagus nerve. So basically how I want to see this is, use a different color, purple. My girlfriend's favorite color. Basically, if you want to put it right, let's go with this for now. Right. Let's see. If there's a muscle, right, let's just call it the, I don't know, make up a muscle name. Controller video games muscle. Made it up, don't care. Okay, so if controller video games muscle comes from arch number 1, that means, well, what supplies arch number 1? According to our little handy dandy drawing up here, it's cranial nerve number 5. So I'm guessing that, they say what nerve innervates the controller video games muscle. Oh, then it must be nerve number 5, whatever that's called. I gotta get the names for you. I believe it's trigeminal, but again, don't quote me on these names yet. But basically, there you go. The controller video games muscle, being that it came from arch number 1, and being that arch number 1 is innervated by the cranial nerve number 5, don't know if it's trigeminal or not, don't quote me, then, well, it only makes sense that a trigeminal nerve would innervate the controller video games muscle. Savvy? Alright, so we're pretty much moving along here. If there's anything, I mean, obviously this is a recording, so can't really ask me questions, but you could always go back. I don't mind repeating because it's not going to be really me, but anyway, rambling. Let's just keep going. Okay, so you're going to have, like right here, when you see that the first arch, they show you here, if you go to this side of the picture, they show you that it's going to be split right along this area here. It's going to be the maxillary and mandibular process. Now, just know, like, you know, yes, they name it maxillary and mandibular, like, and I'm not sure because I'm learning this myself too, but like, those names are important. Like, it helps me remember where they are. Maxillary obviously is above the mandible, so I remember, you know, that the maxillary is up here, mandibular is down here, and the nose is above the maxillary and all that stuff. Stomodium, I believe that's just like, it's going to be a hole. It's going to be like where your mouth is. Because see, it makes sense if you see it. It's like the nostrils are here, and then your mouth, and it's going to be like your lips here. But you know, you'll see it as you go along. Alright, you have, let me see, primitive tongue. They're telling us about the tongue too. You see here that the first arch, it kind of makes 3 swellings, right? You have some tuberculum impar and 2 lateral lingual swellings. So I don't know if you could just see it from how your screen looks, but here I see like a little line, another little line, and here the tuberculum impar is actually like a little indentation into the actual tongue tissue, if you want to call it. There's a swelling here, and there's a swelling here. Okay, so I think like, I know that they told us that this lateral lingual swelling is going to kind of overgrow the impar, and you know, it's going to produce like the front 2/3 of your tongue, right? And they say that arch number 3 will overgrow arch number 2 and form like the back 1/3 of your tongue. And that's important to know because it's going to be innervated by different things. You know, remember what I told you about this right here? If I can get this in here, that'd be nice. I don't know if you can see it or appreciate it, but I'm gonna try my best. Okay. All right. So, basically, okay. I think you can still see this, but right then, we have here. See how arch number 1, okay, that's up here, this orange one. Should have drawn it in orange, as a matter of fact. That would have been a lot easier to follow. I'm sorry, guys. Kind of my first time doing something like this. Hopefully it's helping, but if not, well, I have it for me too, so let's just do it for simplicity. 2, we'll leave it like that. 3, we'll do it in purple because purple. Okay, so 3, it's by what? And then okay, so that's, so we can follow through with color. Plus 6 is number 10, which is the vagus. Okay, so I mean, I find it easier if I can do it like that with color because I'm very color coordinated too. So anyway, so we have arch number 1 in orange here, right? You have it that it's going to be innervated by the 5th cranial nerve, right? So how they put it with us is, yeah, you know about the tongue swellings, how it's going to be. What they tell us is, you know, they're each going to grow over something or something like that. But let me just help you out and become a little more specific here. Fortunately, I gotta move this down because this is not helping me at all. Okay, now let me just give myself some blank space. Okay, so now they said, right, that this, right, let's just say that this is your tongue. It's an ugly looking tongue, I know, but I don't care. This is what I'm doing for, so we can understand this, right? This is the side of your tongue. So if you think about it, your nose is going to be up here. Bad drawing, never said I was an artist, but right, let me just, right, your teeth here, right, teeth, bottom teeth there, whatever it is, a little punching bag thing in the back, so we call it uvula. Just thought I'd share that. Just to sound smart. But anyway, so basically your eye is up here somewhere. Alright, so is your tongue. Now, what you have here in the front is, your front part. That's going to be your lateral lingual swelling, also from arch number 1. You have, let me see. Remember I told you it overgrows this little tuberculum impar thing. So it's going to produce the interior 2/3 of your tongue. So let's just say it's going to do, whatever, just 2/3 of your tongue, right? And 2/3 out here. Into like 3 parts. So 1, 2, and there's the back. 1/3. Okay. So 2/3. So what happens is, remember that we're gonna do it in order. Let's just take it one step at a time. The red one should have been behind, whatever should be behind. Then it should be purple, because that's what happens. Okay, and then it should be green, and we'll walk through it. Now, don't memorize this yet, because we're gonna go through what happens with each one. So basically, the first one, the first pharyngeal arch, you already know it's this one. It's the one where your lateral lingual swellings are, and it's forming the first 2/3 of your tongue. Okay, so that means what? Okay, we'll walk through it. Since it's arch number 1, it's going to be innervated by what? Let's look back at our handy dandy chart. 5. So it's going to be innervated by nerve number 5. Don't know what it's called, but it has a name. I believe it's trigeminal. I think it's trigeminal. I don't know though. Don't quote me on that yet. Okay, so there's number 1. So what happens next? So far we've established this, these 2 parts. It's okay. Now, what's going to happen? So what's going to happen now is that arch number 3, which is this purple one here. So I'm going to go purple. Arch number 3 here. Okay, it's going to overgrow arch number 2 to produce most of the posterior 1/3. Okay, so what happens? This is going to overgrow and be here now. Okay, not sure what happens to this second one here, but purple, it's going to overgrow. Okay, so it forms the posterior 1/3. Okay, these up here, the orange, you already know, forms 1/3 and 1/3. So basically forms 2/3 of the front of the tongue. Let's just cross that out. 2/3, and the other 1/3 is made by this purple, which is arch number 3. So the back of your tongue, right, according to our information so far, this is arch number 3, it's innervated by nerve number 9. Glossopharyngeal, again, don't quote me on that yet. Okay, so here we go. It's 1/3, so arch number 3 has nerve number 9, I believe it said. Right, check back. Yep, nerve number 9. Okay, and let's just say it's, for argument's sake, if you're watching this in the future or whatever and you find this is wrong, okay, I take it, but notice my disclaimers are the question marks. So you can definitely look at a anatomy book. I would, but I don't have one around. Boocha. Okay, anyway, so let's go on. So we're gonna see you're gonna have now the different pieces of this that's gonna start forming, like a lip and the mouth hole and everything. You want to call it mouth hole or stomodium. So you have this foramen cecum, is where all these little things bind. And actually, if you want to see the foramen cecum, if you have access to a lab, I don't know if you're in medical school watching this or not, but if you see like the underside of a skull, right? Oh, man, I really stink at drawing, but whatever. This is like the eye hole of the skull, right? The nose hole of the skull, and then you have pretty much your maxilla, and then you have your mandible here, and it goes back, and you got your zygomatic bone and whatever. This is where your teeth are, right? Right, and then the skull goes on, and the eyeball here. Okay, it looks hideous, but I don't care. Okay, if you look at a skull, like underneath here, looking underneath, right, you see, right, this is where all your teeth are, right here. You're looking, I'm telling you, on the underside, right? You see this on a skull. You see like a little hole here. and then you see it goes back here and it makes another palate bone and everything. So this little hole actually corresponds with this foramen cecum that's here. It's just you're looking at it from a different angle. From here, you're looking at it, you know, from down. Here, you're looking at it from pretty much the back. So you're looking, this picture is showing you like this. Okay, because see your tongue, so it's out. So you're looking at it from the back. This picture is pretty much taken looking that way. But that's pretty much what it's showing you here. But so I wish I had my brother here. He can actually draw. I cannot. Hopefully this is helping, but if it's not, I'm sorry. I'm not a teacher. I'm just another lost student like you. So, let's go on. Let's see what else goes on here with this action. All right. Let's see. So, okay. Let's see what we have. Thermometers, eustachian tube, inner ear. I didn't learn any of this yet. Okay, well, I learned this though, nasal placodes, right? Pretty much what you're gonna have. See, what they're gonna do is these nasal placodes, they start migrating towards the front. Okay, so in order to kind of draw that, yes, not helping because I need to, there we go. Okay, so you pretty much take this picture and put it in here. Like I said, I can't draw, so forgive the badness of it. You know, whatever, I don't care. Okay, so you know, you have your little nose holes there, these things. Okay, what happens is they start going this way. That's what they mean when they say your nasal placodes invaginate. So pretty much they go in too, like in, away from the screen, into the computer, okay, or into your iPod, wherever you're watching this on. But they go in into the screen, and along with the eyes, they continue to migrate anteromedially. So pretty much towards the front, towards the middle. So if you think about it, that direction is pretty much, this is not where they come from, but if you want to think about it, it's like the direction that you would go to go from your ears to where your eyes are. So you're moving forward and towards the middle. That's pretty much the direction. Like I said, it's not going, I'm not saying that these come from your ear. I'm saying that's the direction. It's going from where your ears are to your eyes, to where your eyes are. So it's pretty much anteromedially, to the front, toward the middle. It's the only way I could explain it without going absolutely nuts with the medical jargon, because I don't like when people do that if I don't understand what the heck they're saying. So, whew, this is interesting. Never taught something like this. Okay, what else goes on here? See what other things I can complicate your life with. Okay, here you go. You see that the second arch grew laterally and inferiorly over the third, making the cervical sinus. See right here? So it's going laterally and inferiorly. So it's gonna, see, it grew out towards the side, because see, it started off here, grew out towards the side, and then inferiorly went down. So it grew over and made this little cervical sinus. Excuse me, got to take a sip. Okay, so it grew. Oh, that was bad. Okay, so it grew over the cervical sinus here. Grew over the third and made the cervical sinus. Okay, so it says it's gonna soon degenerate. You have the pharyngeal pouch derivatives, including the palatine tonsils, parathyroid glands, thymus, ultimal branchial bodies, whatever that means. They're shown in yellow to depict their endothermal origin. So I'm guessing it's all this. Okay, see, look, all these little things, because they came from the endoderm, so that's why they're making it in yellow. Okay, and then shades of the colors representing their nearby arches. See, so all this, yes, it's in yellow, but if you see, they still have the shades of their arches that they originally came from, you know. Let's see. I don't know what they're trying to show here with. Let's see. Not really. I know I'm missing a lot of information. This is just the gist of what our teacher was mentioning. Okay, so you have the new frontal view, right here. Shows the structure of the mouth and the nasal region. Let's see, remaining half. Okay, so yeah, the nasal septum. If you think about it, like if you take, not that you would, but if you take like the front of somebody's nose and just slice it, right? You see the inside. This is the palatine shelf. So it's going to go in between to separate your two nostrils. So just don't do it around me. But if you're going to stick your fingers in your nose, you touch the middle, what's separating your nostrils. That's this. It's going to go down and form the nasal septum, and your tongue comes up with the palatine shelves. What happens is it actually closes and your tongue stays underneath. You know what I mean? So here. What the? Caramba. Okay, here we go. Clicked the wrong one. Alright, so basically, what you have, this little thing here, right? It's your nose. You think about it, this is, your eyes or whatever. Smiley face if you're happy right now. Your nose, right? Yeah, this is the bridge of your nose, but inside, you have two openings. You can stick your finger in that one, or you can stick your finger in that one. Can't really cross over, unless you have cleft palate or something, which, it's actually an anomaly of this. Or if somebody does, in the adult life, they do drugs or whatever, I think cocaine does it to you after a while. It breaks down the septum, then you can stick your fingers from one side to the other. But basically, what this is, right here, is, basically, what I'm trying to show is if you look at somebody from the front like that, your eyes, right, then you see this little picture here. The septum's coming down, and the palatines, the shelves are about to close, and the tongue is here. Right? Is your tongue. Why I drew that dot? I don't know. Okay. So your palatine shelves are going to close, right? Then this obviously doesn't go into your mouth. You don't have a septum of your nose in your mouth. So what happens is the palatine closes, and this forms on the inside. This becomes one side of your nostril. This becomes the other one. So, and then your mouth forms here. Your teeth come out here, and your tongue is here. And then you get your little punching bag thing in the back, and that's where you chew. You have teeth here too. But you get what I'm trying to say. If you don't, just rewind it, and I actually understand what I'm saying for once. So, yeah. So that's what you have here. This is what you're trying to show, that the septum comes down, and then divides your nose into two places. Left and right nostrils. It's bothering me. Okay. And you have your little uvula in the back, and your tongue. So, I mean, basically that's what they're showing here. And now remember I told you that this is going to be, that's the stemodium that I showed you before. This is your mandibular part. This is your maxillary part. So what happens is, you see how they're fusing here? And now your nose is starting to come closer to these medial sides of the nasal prominences. So when you have that, you're going to have, sure, fusing, whatever this becomes, the septum of the nose on the outside. This is the eye plicote here. Let's see what they do, what this does now. Where is it going to take me? Oh, that was kind of violent. Oh, aha, there it is. I was trying to tell you before. Okay, see what I mean? That nasal septum is right here. So now you can see why cleft palate happens. You have this coming down, supposedly to separate the two nostrils, so it's going to be in here. The septum, like I said, is that piece you could stick your finger in your nose and touch the middle, which I just did. So right here, that's your nasal septum. Your primary palate, what they're going to call primary palate is, wait, let me see if you can see this, if it's within the screen. Yes, it is. Okay, so your nasal palate, primary palate, excuse me, it's going to be, remember I told you when you look at underneath here, there's going to be your teeth or whatever. No, yeah, you have incisors, whatever. There's your teeth. You're looking at it from underneath, right? If you remove your jaw and look underneath, just like this view is here. Okay, it's from underneath, so you're looking at it from this way. Basically what you're going to look at, this primary palate, it comes like this. Let me use a different color so you don't get confused like I would. You have a primary palate, right? So that's this area here. That's what they're showing you here. It's going to be a primary palate. Your maxillary process, yeah, it's going to form like, this different color, like this part here, yes, and this part here. Okay, see, like I show it here. And then, like I said, the palatine shelves, which I'm going to do red, right here. Okay, and right here. So what they're going to do is they're going to come in to the middle and then form this area of your hard palate, which is where if you stick your tongue up against pretty much is the roof of your mouth. This right here. It's the roof of your mouth seen from where your tongue would touch. Okay? And then here, this little area is that foramen cecum, I think it was called. They call it, where they both join. You can actually see that in a skeleton if you look on the skull. If you look on the actual model of the skull, you'll see it. But okay. So you notice in this picture, right? The nostrils are not yet they're still far apart because they're still moving what? Anteromedially. So this is where the baby's ears would be. These things are moving anteromedially, meaning forward and towards the middle. Like I said, from where your ears are towards where your eyes are now, which would be here, but that's the direction from your ears to your eyes. So you're moving. So your ears are a lot further to the sides than your eyes are. So you would move forward and to the middle. That's what this is showing you here. Okay? So basically this is how you form that hard palate. Okay? So let me see. You have palatine shelves, yes, that are these guys right here. That's, see, right here, if the baby's born like this, you could already see it's a cleft palate. It's not completely closed. So most likely the lips aren't going to be closed either. This is if born like this, obviously it would be a preemie, but that's the idea. This is the cleft palate. That's why it's palate. That's where it comes from, palatine shelf. This is not completely closed, so you'll be able to stick your tongue up there and touch your nasal septum. It's not supposed to be that way. Okay. So you have the primary palate, which is this green one here. I should have drawn it in green. It would have been a lot easier to follow for you guys. Okay, right here. The primary palate, which is right here, is actually formed by what? What is it telling us? It's a component of the intermaxillary segment. So slow it down. Basically, I'm going to say it, but then I'll explain it. It's intermaxillary segment, derivative of the medial nasal prominence. That's this right here. Of the frontal nasal prominence. This is frontal nasal prominence. And it says the intermaxillary segment is also comprised of the labial component, the philtrum. It's going to soon develop. The philtrum is pretty much, that area, like pretty much literally in the dead center of your upper lip. That little indentation that some people think is I don't know. I think Jewish tradition says it's a little angel that touches you there before you're born to give you God's word or something on your lips. Yeah, it's a little indentation. You'll see it if you look at a mirror. If you have a mustache, it's kind of hard to see, but that little indentation on your upper lip, literally right underneath the septum of your nose, that's the philtrum. That's where everything comes together. It's like the puzzle piece, but we'll see that later. So intermaxillary segment, that's this right here. It's going to develop a portion of the upper jaw, which will hold the 4 incisor teeth. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. It was almost on the money. There we go. 4. The 4 incisor teeth. It's going to hold it there. That's what's going to form in here, this primary palate. Okay? So, basically, to recap this, I'm not going to get rid of that because that's what we're looking at. Okay. Basically, I don't know what you like better, my crappy drawing here or this animation, but either way, I'm going to explain it the same. Nasal septum comes down, okay, in order to, separate your 2 nostrils. Otherwise, you'd have one huge nostril, and that'd look kind of weird. Your palatine shelf comes down, and it's going to close to form this. Like I said, it comes to the side and closes to form that hard palate. You have your primary palate, which is pretty much going to be some of this that comes in. I'm not sure if it has your medial nasal septum, but we'll find out. But this is going to form the primary palate, which contains your 4 incisors. Okay. let's see what goes on next, huh? Let's get this out of here. See what happens. Aha! Look, there it is. Did you see that? Did you see that animation? Pay attention here. I'm going to rewind it. Look. Saw that? Pay attention here. Look. See? They fuse. Here's the filter in the beginning of it. That little indentation on your top lip. Look. Right there. Remember I told you that the maxillary is going to form most of your top lip, and the mandibular prominence is going to form most of your bottom lip. Look. Look at it. See? So, we'll get to this soon, nasolacrimal groove, because that's another anomaly that's going to develop there. But, so you see, now, if you want to put it in a way that's a little bit easier to understand, check this out, right? I just noticed this now, so I'm actually learning while doing this. But, okay, you see how this, you had the two medial pieces of your nasal prominences. You had them come to the middle and fuse to form, look, this is now part of your upper lip. See, you see the baby's face, like, pretty much. It's not how it's going to be developed, or born, but you start seeing it. You see? Now you have the two medial nasal prominences and the actual maxillary prominence. They fuse to form that top lip. And this was your stomodium, remember? So, I told you it's going to be a hole. That's your mouth. And then you have this nasolacrimal groove. That's what's going to form when, let's see what is formed by. Well, it's actually formed from, let's see, whatever this is, frontal, or something, I forgot what it's called, but probably the frontal area, because this is the forehead. It's going to be the forehead. That and your maxillary and your eye placode and your lateral nasal prominence. It's going to form the nasolacrimal groove. That's going to be where, you know, your lacrimal duct sits in. But for now, let's pay attention to this picture down here. I already kind of shot you this one already, so we'll do this one. Look, there, see? There's that movement I told you, from the ear towards the eye. It's this general direction, from here to here. So look. See? That's what I was talking about, that they're going to migrate that way. So you see now I can go to my cheesy drawing. Now you see the palate is actually closing. The nasal septum is going to stay up there because it has to stay above your palate. It only makes sense. You don't have a septum in the middle of your mouth. Okay? You have it in your nose area, inside, separating the two nostrils. You don't have it in your mouth because the palatine shell stops it there. You have, again, my little drawing here. You have your 4 teeth or whatever in the front. It's formed by this primary booch, I forgot what it's called. Primary something. Booch. Sorry guys, I'm new at this too. There we go. It's primary palate. Okay, it's gonna form your primary palate. Look, bam, right there. So now you still have your primary palate, and you have your secondary palate back here. And give me a different color. Forming that, like that. Okay. Palatine shell is going to form that, and you got your actual maxillary here. Okay. Nasal cavity, yes, it's going to be in here. These little holes. Oral cavity, yes, in here. Palatine shelf closing, yes. So you're going to have now, right? What is this here? Tongue. The floor of the pharynx, right? You have the second arch here. The contribution of the tongue is overgrown by the third arch. I think I drew that actually. Here's my cheesy. There we go. Yep. Okay. So you have here again, the second arch contribution to the tongue is overgrown. So this is the second. So just refresh your memory. This was the second arch. This was the third arch. And this is the first arch. Okay, so yeah, you had your second in order, first, second, third, yeah. But what happens is third got greedy and decided to overextend its boundaries this way. So now you have the third forming the last 1/3 of your tongue, and you have the first forming the first 2/3, which would mean what? The nerves. Trigeminal is doing the first 2/3 of your tongue, and that third, you're going to have the glossopharyngeal. Don't quote me again on these two. There's my disclaimers right here. But I do know these. It's 9th and the 5th. Okay? So they're kind of going through that again. The face and the ears, right? Okay. You have, let's go back to this picture here. Okay. You have the ears indicated right here superficially, right? By a flap-like auricle developed from arches 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 is here. Okay. So you have pretty much, it's going to be like a little flap that comes out. You have here, like I said, it kind of forms out of these guys here. And I believe, I don't know, don't quote me, but maybe this is what comes out and forms the ear, because between 1 and 2. Then they go on to tell you this, that medial nasal prominences have fused with each other, right here. And with the maxillary prominences, here. These are the maxillary prominences, right here. And this is mandibular prominence. So it makes sense because your maxilla bone is here and your mandible is down here. Okay? And what you have is a nasolacrimal groove here. Separates the maxillary and lateral nasal prominences, right here. Because it keeps going. Okay? So he goes here. It's a groove in there. It contains a cord. It's going to turn into like a little canal and forms the nasolacrimal duct, which runs from the medial eye, right here, medial part of your eye, to the inferior meatus of the nasal cavity. Okay, that's you'll see when you do the if you do the lateral wall of the nasal cavity. Okay, that's there. It's going to be there. It's the inferior nasal concha, and it comes out the nasolacrimal groove. But that's something else. You don't have to worry about that if this is all you need to know. You have, let's see, nasal septum. Yes. Okay. Palatine shelves. Yep, they're moving in, and they're going to fuse sort of like, it's going to be like this. Right? You have the nasal septum coming down. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at it from the front. So this is the guy, and this is his nose. Whatever. Horrible nose. Okay. Can't draw. But she was a Magilla gorilla. But anyway, you have the palatine shelves that are coming in from the sides, right? And you have your tongue down here. So palatine shelves are going to fuse, and this is going to come down, and bam, you have a fusion there. So now you have your teeth, you know, your little punching bag thing, the uvula in the back. Okay, so that fuses. This forms one nasal septum. This forms the other one. And if this doesn't form here, so if you have nothing of that, then you're gonna have kind of like a deviated septum or a hole in the middle. If that doesn't form, then you have cleft palate. And being that this pretty much coincides with this here, if that doesn't fuse, you're gonna have that lip problem, you know, where you kind of, your lip is open like that, and they have to fix it surgically, which can be repaired. Thank God it can be. If you know somebody who has it, you know, just don't make fun of them. It's not cool. But yeah, it can be fixed with surgery. So let's see what else. What's next over here? See, look, now it looks a lot. There's your philtrum. That's the area I was telling you where it's kind of pushed in. So let me see. What else do you have here? I'm trying to check. What else can I show you from here? Okay, so basically what else we got here? Like I said, the philtrum actually forms. That's that little area. Remember I told you the Jewish tradition thinks that's the angel puts his finger there and you get the word of God. So it's like a little indentation in the middle, literally under your nose, the septum of your nose. Inside the nose, if you cut away this, you know, kind of like slice, you'll see this. You know, the septum's forming, yes, but on the side and lateral, like I remember I was telling you, the nasal concha, they form. The nasolacrimal duct, remember that came from this line here? This, and it's back here and underneath. It forms under here, comes out here. This is the inferior meatus, they call it, from the inferior concha. So it comes out here, and it goes up. So it's in here, and goes up, and comes to the nasolacrimal duct. So basically you have, you begin to form bone here. This is how it shows bone. This, again, is your nasal septum and 2 nostrils. You have bone that begins to form in the anterior portion, or the front portion of the palate, so in here. Of the palatine shelves to produce part of the hard palate, right here. This is your hard palate, in here. Okay? The back portion of the fused shelves, it lacks bone, so it becomes your soft palate. So, again, like cheesy drawing. If you're getting sick of it, I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, so you have, I'm basically going to draw this right here. Okay, you have your, and now they call it the incisive foramen. That's what you see on the skull. That's what you see, little incisive foramen. Okay, you have your primary palate, your secondary palate is here. But remember, you have how they show the bones growing in here. I'm just going to draw in a different color, but I'm going to highlight it. The bones are growing in here. Okay. So they grow from the sides, and then they meet in the middle, okay? And then they stop, okay? But this still keeps growing a little bit. This area here becomes your soft palate, okay? Because there's no bone there. And then back here, you get your little punching bag, right? It's the uvula, this right here. And yes, it is included in your soft palate, this little uvula thing, okay? The incisive foramen that they keep mentioning is this thing, is it's the midline, like the midline junction between the primary and secondary palates. Primary is this soft right here, remember? Secondary is here. I mean, this is not soft, I'm sorry. This is just primary palate and your secondary palate. Both hard, but you see that it's formed from different things. Primary palate is formed from, you know, the medial nasal prominences and your maxillary prominences that form in the middle, and they form your upper lip, pretty much. Okay? If that doesn't form, well, you got cleft lip. You see, now you can see why. Look. Let's go with a backwards play on this real quick. Okay? See here? Now, just imagine. You see, I'm going to play it going forward, okay? Slowly. Right, look. See, now you see right here. Just look here, okay? Look at these little gaps. 1, 2, 3, okay? I want you to just look at these 3 little gaps while I go forward and talk. Can't point because I'm pressing the little button on the bottom, but just look. Do you see now how they're still fusing and the angles are becoming less severe here, okay? See? Less severe, less, until finally they kind of disappear. See? And become your regular lip. But listen. What would happen if they don't fuse completely? Then think about it, the baby's born like this. Okay? That looks a lot like cleft palate, and that makes sense. I mean, obviously, the rest of the body will form, the eyes and everything will look normal. But this, if this doesn't finish fusing with this, you can have lateral cleft palate, medial cleft palate. Okay? Medial cleft palate pretty much is going to be because your medial nasal prominences don't fuse. If they don't fuse, well, you can have a hole. Okay? So this right here would probably be a lateral. Don't quote me, but I think this is what's going to be called a lateral. Lateral. Whew, it's been a long day. Lateral cleft palate. Okay, because now look, think about it. This is not going to fuse, so that means this is not going to fuse either. So technically, you can have pretty much if you take a slice, like almost like a razor, and slice in here. Then yeah, this is going to be cleft, and so is this. So you're going to look inside the baby's mouth like this, and it's going to be not fused because the palate doesn't fuse anything else. So let's see. There it is. That becomes like the face. That's how it looks. Okay? So, I mean, so far, I think that's all there is. Really. Yeah, that's all. But, I mean, if I didn't help you, I'm sorry. But I kind of made this for me. But I figured I'd share it with somebody and see if it helps somebody else besides me. But yeah, if anything, just look it over again, or look through a real textbook and ask a real teacher who did this sort of to learn. But anyway, nah. Yeah, the name's Jonathan, and if I was of help, then praise God. If not, I'm sorry. Just a lost student like you. Alright, have a good one.